Okay, so I'm back to Archean, and if I split the videos, you were back to Archean, I guess. But uh, so let's continue. Where did we stop? At we had the checked the containers, right? Or which containers exist, uh, and we need to connect now to crafters and do the crafting lodge. I guess there is no running away now. So let's actually do another crafter, because like I can't live without these crafters now. I need them to keep my sanity, because manually crafting would be pain. But anyway, let's then do this. I just woke up, just so you guys know. It's, uh, so if I'm a little sluggish, that's the reason. So I'll be back in a jiff. Okay, so I did just a little bit of shelving, I guess shelving. Um, so we have some space to expand this storage, but also we have this second floor now, and this second floor I intend to be for the ores and elements and so on. So yeah, basically the minerals, I guess. Um, so let's actually put the crafter down. Um, as I said before, I want to go through the corridor here. I'm thinking going through the top, maybe with visible cabling. So let's maybe do it like this, so we can see the screen while we pass through. We can like do custom screens now on this, but yeah, it sounds like a lot of work. So we have to connect them to our storage. So the first thing actually will be to actually the first thing will be to give me a little bit more space so I can walk. Um, put some item junctions, so we have we only need to bring one of these, right? Uh, one item conduit, and it can go to all crafters. Actually, we have we need two item junctions, one for input, one for output. They are going to the same place, which is here, but we still need two of them. Um, so let's actually do something like a roof here. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I think over here would be perfect. And I want to put another junction here just so we can connect both input and output from this to there. We could connect it here, but I think it would be better to put there. So I can junction. I feel like we are making multiple of them. That's fine for now. Uh, So yeah, so two cables are going up here and then ending up here. Let's actually do it like this. so we have some space for like multiplying this junction with other connections, for example with the ores. But for now it's just going to be space. So I want this to go exactly like that. Thank you. Maybe like this. That's our output. Now for the input, or vice versa, I guess. Something like this. Yeah. And then going like this, I guess. No, that's too different. It has to be different, of course, otherwise they are going to be in the same place, which is very aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, now I think it's much better. Although they collapsed in the same place, I guess. But anyway, let's put the output here, the input here. Now we have the item. We need power. I think I'm going to have a separate battery. Actually, no, this isn't even using this battery. Let's just connect it to a high voltage junction here. Let me build this wall just so I know where this room kind of starts. So we can put the junction something like this, and bring this on under the floor. Actually, let me bring it from the other way, because I found that's a more pleasing way of doing this connection. And then connects the crafter. Something like this. Yep, perfect. Now the fluids, I don't have a fluid junction. Right, so let's craft it. Okay, so just as it happened multiple times now, when I was out-tabbing to check if the video was recording, the game crashed. That has been quite annoying, actually. But yeah, at the very least, both the game and OBS Studio doesn't fail me for now, at least. And I never lose anything on these crashes, neither the recording or the progress in the game. So that's actually that's at least net zero, something like that. Okay, so we have now all fluids. We only need the data to go back to the computer here, and I think, yeah, I think I'll do a mini router here just for the crafters, because I won't have as many crafters. Where's the mini router? I'm not thinking properly. But I will not have as many crafters as I will have containers, or at least I don't plan to. Why would I need so many crafters? Um, so we can just like maybe do it over here. This looks like a good place. Yeah. So right now we can have 4 crafters. I think that's enough, but I want to have like space for maybe 8, and I don't think I'll ever go through more than 8. And the reason why I want so many crafters is simply to have parallel crafting, right? So I'm still thinking on how I'm going to do it. But for example, if you need to craft like uh, a crafter, for example, you need 1,000 screws, and that's not even counting the screws in other components, which I'm guessing there are. Although I can't seem to find any. Maybe in the mini computer, yeah, like 100 more screws. So what I was thinking was to do something like a uh, parallel crafting of all components. So for example, here the connector, we could craft the wire and plastic at the same time, or maybe even divide the quantity among the crafters. So we can, for example, for the screws, if we have 4 crafters, for example, you can do 250 screws in each crafter, and that's going to speed up quite a bit of the process. So I think I should be able to check this on on the computer. So if I come here, let me get this out of the screen. Let's see if we can print make the device type for the crafter one. Let me stop this. I don't think so. Okay, so is this recognizing the crafter? No. Okay. I was guessing I didn't need the power for this mini router, but I guess since it's a mini router, not a router, maybe because of that I need it. Anyway, just really quickly, let's try and reboot. Still no? Okay. To your... Oh, I didn't connect the crafter. Of course I won't be able to find it. Let's put it like this. So now I think it should work. Yeah, perfect. So, let's do the same thing basically, but for the crafter. So now should be able to know how many crafters and how many containers we have. I can print here text. And also for the crafter. Yeah, so we have 1 crafter and 6 containers. That's cool. Let's stop this. And now we can already like detect multiple crafters up to 100. I think that's enough. And we check them on initializing. Maybe I should put this logic in a function, but whatever for now. So now let's start to actually craft. Just to test, let's put some iron. Actually, let's not take from here. We use those. Let's take from here. Let's put some iron in the containers. And let's try to craft a screw. So what I am hoping to do is maybe let's make a new file for crafting. And here we can do some crafting logic. So good crafting.exe. Like for example, queuing crafting items and asking for the crafter to craft actually something. So for example, let's make a function craft which takes a crafter, say text with the alias of the crafter and item. It's the name of the item, and we just put number for the crafter at channel 1, I think it is, and it's the item. Actually, it's output text. So let's make another function actually, just to get the name of the crafter. There, and it will take a number, I guess, or should it take an index to the array? No, number. I think all of this kind of makes more sense to do it in the crafting file. So we could have actually an index. Yeah. And we just return text with container crafter prefix and the index. That's just so we can sorry, not index, just crafter numbers dot index. So that's just an easier way to have the name. So we can, for example, do something like let me check the name of the screw. It's just singular. So we can do something like craft for the name of index 0, and we just want to craft screw. Okay, something happened. No iron used though. Okay. So it did something, and I think yeah, we have one screw. That's a start, I would say. So how do we check if the crafter is still in progress? Because I wouldn't want to keep asking for it to craft and not and like for for crafting recipes that take a longer time. We have to wait for it to stop crafting. So maybe we need to check this. Let me think about it for a second. Okay, so I didn't fix the crafting logic I was thinking about, but I thought I would go and do some container logic first, just to check how many items we have. We are going to need this sometime soon. So what I did was basically I did the same thing with the container name as I had done with the crafter name, but now we uh, can also get the available items, which works like this. So we go through every container number that we know exists, and we reach the contents of the container, and with the contents of the container we check if the uh, our overall contents, so the sum of all containers, has that item for each item we have in the container, and if it has, it sums the quantity. If it doesn't, uh, it appends basically to a string. It's actually a key value object, so it it looks like what you are seeing on the bottom. So it just appends the item. So you can see, for example, we have two casings. I crafted some of those to test. We have a lot of iron, some screw, and what I was trying to do with the casing was find a simple crafting recipe that takes some time. So maybe magnet would be a good example. So let's go back here into this crafting. Let's craft with the name of index 0. Let's craft a magnet, which takes a while. So it said casing. I should probably get the available items after. Okay, so we ran twice, and we got one magnet. I run for a screw. Does it craft one? No. Okay. Okay. But I think it's just because I am checking for the items on the same tick. So let's instead do it over here, that where we check every second. So yeah, it crafted just the first printing. It wasn't crafted yet. Okay, so we probably want to check for the progress, which is this output number here. Every few milliseconds or something like that, just so we know when it stops crafting. So let's stop this. Yeah, and every time I save a file, which is kind of a programmer's tick, I reboot the computer and it crafts one screw. But anyway, let's actually, yeah, that's what autocraft needs. Let's make it function for getting the progress. Progress. I think that's how you spell it, right? And it will return a number, which is simply input number, I guess 0. Yeah, 0. So it's vector 0. So we can, for example, here have the vector name of this index, and you can just maybe print text. something like this with the crafter name and yeah, crafter progress. For this crafter name. Missing parentheses, where? Yeah, so we only have one crafter and it's going to check multiple times. Let's put it over 30 hertz or something like that. Just so, actually 10 hertz is fine. Just so we always check. So let's put the magnets again, because I think that takes more time. So we should see a number growing here. Yep. So wasn't for long actually, but yeah. Put back this through, just because the the crafting components are less, I guess. So what we can do then is just keep a progress for each crafter, maybe, or maybe when we ask for a new craft, we just check with which crafter is available at the time. I think we have both of these options, and I think the second one is best. Yeah, I think that's cool. So let's maybe do a queue for this. So let's make an array. Oops. Queue. I think this is enough. So this is an array of text. So basically my idea is to have a function, something like queue crafting with an item and quantity of them. That's quantity is not that big of a word. And we can just put this on the. Actually, it won't be a queue. It will be more of a stack. But yeah, it's S for stack. So stack crafting, and we want to append the item at the last position of this stack. So let's check the documentation again. I think I can just insert, or sorry, it's just append, right? Yeah. So I can just write append a text with the item and the quantity, right? But I want to separate them afterwards. So which is the best way to do it? Yeah, let's do it something like a comma, semicolon. Sorry, no, it's just comma. Something like this with the item and say number. And then we can have a timer frequency, like 10 maybe. And we want to check the crafter progress before we send an item, right? If the progress is 1, then we can send it because it's already done. The progress is from 0 to 1, basically 0 to 100%. So yeah, so let's take this loop here. Let's take even the time. If it's equal to 0, I can just continue, I guess. I guess this works. Yeah, it does. So basically, if there is nothing on the crafting queue, we just don't do anything. Otherwise, we go through the crafters and we can, yeah, actually this only works for one crafter, right? Maybe do something like, just for now, maybe we can get crafts, or we know it's chapter 1 for now. Let's just do it s dot last. Let me check if it's like this. Craft s dot last, but actually we want to separate the quantity, right? Because I'm thinking even if I separate the quantity from the item, I have to then to update the quantity after I craft it, or I ask it to craft, I guess. No, after I craft, right? And yeah, and to do it like this would be quite painful. So how can I do it? Maybe I can do a key value system inside the array. So for example, our structure would be something like we have an array, right? Let's do it like Python. So we have multiple values, and for example, one is, let's say, we want to do some rules, and we want 10 of them, and we want some casings. We want only 2. So it would be something like this. And when I read for one specific index of the stack, I can separate that into a key value array, right? And I can even do a like multiple items. So for example, we get a crafting that has multiple items. I could do one circuit, one disk for each to craft before the last item in the stack. Yeah, so that, yeah, I think this will work quite well. So I don't want to input an item on the stack, right? Actually, I do. So what I can do is s. So instead of input an item, let's say we s add. So we add to the stack. So it's going to be something like this with the containers, right? So if the craft stack that last contains the item I want, then I can do just craft s dot item was equals the quantity. Otherwise, I do it equals the quantity, and I can have a function of now as of appending something to the stack, and it's a, let's call it a recipe, because we can get the recipe, and the recipe would be something like something like casing one screw, then something like that. So that's something like this. Yeah, and we simply append this to the array, right? Append recipe. Yeah, yeah, I think this is a good system, because then we can for parallel crafting, we can just check what the last item of the stack is and do the last item only in parallel. Yeah, yeah, I think this is a nice way to do it. So we can append to the stack, and okay, so let's just with let's change this to an interval of 1. It just prints the last item on the stack, so craft as sorry, that last. Okay. Okay, so this doesn't work. Let's just if it's greater than 0, then we do our code. It's a bit uglier because we have to index that. Sorry, not index. Have to type that. But anyway, and here we can just append a recipe to the stack. For example, screw 1, 1, right? Where is it printing that? Okay, so that's the last item of the stack, right? And if we do a magnet 1, yeah, we have another last item. Okay, okay, okay. So we can already call to craft one specific item. So let's make a call to craft the last item of the stack, and every time it does craft that, it removes, it counts down the stack. So maybe we also have an array for crafting, which doesn't need to be an array, just a variable. And every time we craft, here's the reason why we do it in such small functions. I just have to change here. So when we put to crafting here, we can just crafting. Actually, let's check if I can simply do this plus equals 1 and do maybe a function or as last craft, and basically this function will start to craft all the items on the last item, on the last resp of the stack. So for example, we can go with Yeah. So let's do something here. Progress. Let's go to this. We are going to return the progress. And if progress is 1 and which text crafter 1 is different than nothing, then we output the text as nothing. So so if we run this every time, then it will check if the progress is 1, which means it finished the item, and it will stop asking for that item, so that we can input another item, right? So if so we have to run this over every crafter every time. So create timer, put a frequency of 30, yeah, or 20, I think it's enough for each crafter. Whatever. Index and a number. Crafter progress, and the crafter is the crafter name of index I. Okay, am I? Okay, let's stop the crafting. Please stop. Let's do it like this, maybe. So it stops the crafting. Also, let's just check how many items we just created. So get available items. We have to print it. Yeah, I think we just made 400 screws. Okay, so we have to turn off the crafter and then turn it back on, I guess. Let's check if it can do it like this. So it isn't crafting, fine. And if I do this, crafted exactly 1, fine. Okay, this is okay. Yeah, I can actually put it on tick, and this is the only thing I'm going to run every tick, so because I don't want the program to be very heavy. So we can stop the crafters now when they stop doing it. Actually, let's not return anything here. Doesn't make actually any sense. Or it should be another function at the very least. Yeah. Let's call it check after progress. We have to actually spell it right. So yeah, it's going to do it like this. I think this is better. I don't know if it actually changes anything, but I think it's going to be more often that the crafter recipe is nothing than the progress is 1. So it stops earlier. Anyway, that's it. And so let's craft the last item on the stack then. What I'm going to do is, yeah, okay, this worked, right? If I print this, yeah, it showed it as crafting. So we don't actually need this if, and also we don't need it here. Okay. Yeah, it still works. So what we can do, we really work with minus. No, actually we don't need that. Just okay. So we need for each key on crafting, on craft s last items. Yeah. Craft s dot last an index and a name. Sorry. That's better. And quantity. Yeah. So if quantity is greater than 0, so if we want to craft something, actually let's do it like this. Just so the code is cooler, clear looking. So if the quantity is greater than 0, we want to simply craft them. And we need to select a crafter, right? So let's maybe do a function that selects it for us. Function craft with selected, and it's just a item. And like this, we are going to do it one item at a time, which is fine, I guess. But anyway, so craft with select, we can run over every crafting numbers for each crafter numbers. This is going to be an index and a number. And for each crafter number, we check what's the progress of the that crafter. So we can just alright, goes to input as input number, the crafter name for that index 0. If we let's do another function. Actually, let's do it like this. Function crafter available, and then a crafter. So what it will do, simply have a progress, which is the progress of this crafter, and have an item, right? Does it need both? Does it need both? I don't think so. But anyway, let's then return if p equals 1. This returns a number. Yeah, and we can simply here check the crafter progress. Yeah, I think that's fine. So I can just do it like this, right? So we it returns weather. It's not how to spell weather, is it? If the occurs progress is done. Okay, so it returns 1 if it's available, 0 otherwise. Actually, it could be 0 too, the progress. So or it's equal to 0. Yeah, let's do it like this. So here we just need to check if the crafter is name. Just going to crafter. For this index, and if the crafter available, then we can craft the items, the item, craft item, set the crafter, right, and break. Actually, let's return a number, and if it starts crafting, it returns 1, otherwise it returns 0, so that we know if the crafting started or not. Yeah, so for now I think this is going to be it. Crafting 19. Let's say it's a text. It's 1, same thing. Actually, I think it may be a function, and that's why it's... No, it's not a function. And now it has a text. Yeah, okay. So now I can simply... Okay, that's right. Let's append in this tag the recipe, like something like screw 2 patent 1, and we check if the says it's greater than 0. Actually, can I? We just return, otherwise E S last. Yeah, and it's not going to work afterwards, right? But this didn't work. Why did it work before? Okay, for now I have to go, but I'll check it later, I guess.